Okay, so you're curious about assembling ammunition, huh? That's pretty intense.
Right.
Yeah, let's dive into these RoleCatcher guides and see what we can learn.
Sounds good.
Right off the bat, I'm seeing this isn't just slapping bullets together, you know? It sounds like a high-stakes, detail-oriented job.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is the blend of traditional manufacturing and cutting-edge technology.
Mm-hmm.
The guide mentions automation, robotics, advanced sensors. It's not your grandfather's assembly line anymore.
Right. And it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on safety,
Of course, yeah.
which makes sense given the materials involved.
Right.
But hold on, this RoleCatcher thing keeps popping up.
Yeah.
It sounds like a job hunting platform.
Yes. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it speaks volumes about the demand for ammunition assemblers. They wouldn't have such specialized resources if it weren't a field with potential.
Good point. Okay, so the guide also breaks down the career path.
Okay.
You can start as an entry-level assembler and work your way up to senior roles, even management.
Interesting.
They even give examples of what each stage looks like.
That level of detail is really helpful.
Right.
They've even included sample profiles of people at different career stages.
Wow.
Imagine reading a job description written by someone who's actually lived it.
Now that's useful. They've also got a whole section on interview questions.
Oh, wow.
And get this, they have a tool called RoleCatcher Copilot AI that gives feedback on your answers.
Like,
That almost feels like cheating, but in a good way.
it definitely speaks to how competitive the job market is becoming.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to stand out, right?
Right.
But remember, technology can only take you so far.
Oh, okay.
The real key is a genuine interest in the work and a commitment to safety and precision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of standing out, they mentioned something about employers using RoleCatcher to find candidates with matching skill sets.
Interesting.
So if you're a good fit, they might even come to you.
It's like a dating app, but for careers.
That's wild.
This whole RoleCatcher thing has me intrigued.
Yeah, me too.
I wonder if they have guides for other professions.
Me too. But that's a deep dive for another day.
Right.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
If you're looking for a career that's hands-on, in demand, and constantly evolving, ammunition assembler might just be the perfect fit.
Sounds like it.
But it's not for the faint of heart.
Hmm.
It requires meticulous attention to detail, a strong work ethic, and a commitment to safety above all else.
Of course.
Makes you appreciate the job on a whole other level.
Right.
Speaking of different levels, they've got this whole breakdown of what each stage of the career looks like.
Okay.
They start with entry-level ammunition assembler. Sounds pretty self-explanatory.
It is, but they go deeper than just saying you assemble stuff.
Okay.
They give you the why, the how.
Uh-huh.
It's about mastering the fundamentals under close supervision, making sure you understand the process inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's a big focus on quality control right from the start,
Right.
which makes sense given the high stakes.
You can't exactly issue a recall on a faulty bullet.
No, definitely not.
So what comes next once you've got those basics down pat?
That's when you step into the junior ammunition assembler role.
Okay.
This is where you start to gain more independence and responsibility.
I see.
Think of it like this. You're not just following the recipe anymore.
Right.
You're starting to add your own flair to the dish, but, with explosives.
I like that analogy. So less hand-holding, more trust in your abilities.
Exactly. You're still assisting senior assemblers, but you're taking on more complex tasks, working with more autonomy.
Okay.
They even highlight this in one of the example profiles,
Oh, wow.
talking about how a junior ammunition assembler is often tasked with troubleshooting those minor issues that pop up.
I see.
It's all about becoming a problem solver, not just a task doer.
Okay, so you're moving up in the world, taking on more responsibility.
Right.
What's the next rung on this career ladder?
This is where things get really interesting. You transition into an experienced ammunition assembler.
Okay.
It's not just about making ammo anymore.
Oh,
It's about leading a team, mentoring,
okay.
making sure everyone is performing at their best,
Right.
and most importantly, doing it all safely.
So you're not just building ammunition, you're building a team and improving the way things are done. That's leadership.
It is, yeah.
And I'm guessing this is where those soft skills they mentioned become super critical.
Absolutely. You're leading a team, training new recruits,
Mhm.
and even getting involved in shaping safety protocols.
Wow.
Communication, teamwork, problem solving, they all come into play big time here.
Right.
It's a whole different skill set than just knowing how to assemble a cartridge.
Okay, so we've gone from following the rule book to basically writing our own chapter. What's left at the top of this ammo assembling mountain?
At the summit, We have the senior ammunition assembler,
Yep.
the peak of the profession.
Right.
They're essentially orchestrating the entire symphony of ammunition,
Mm-hmm.
production, quality control, production targets, safety, everything.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility. It sounds like they need nerves of steel to handle all that pressure.
Absolutely.
So, what does a day in the life of a senior ammunition assembler look like?
Imagine this. You walk the production floor, not just checking for errors, but anticipating them.
Right.
You're mentoring newer assemblers, not by the book, but from experience.
Okay.
You're brainstorming with management, suggesting new technologies or refining safety protocols.
Uh-huh.
You're not just part of the machine, you're helping to design it.
It's inspiring. Who knew there was so much depth to this career path?
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of depth, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of the actual work.
Okay.
RoleCatcher goes into detail about the knowledge required, and it's more than you might think.
More than just knowing which end of the bullet goes in first.
Way more.
Okay.
You need a deep understanding of the explosives themselves, their types, properties, and of course all the safety precautions for handling them.
Right.
It's not something you pick up overnight.
It's like they don't just hand you a box of gunpowder and say, go nuts, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the manufacturing process itself.
Okay.
Understanding how cartridges and projectiles are made, the materials involved, the machinery used. It's a whole world unto itself.
Right.
They even get into the specifics of die materials, which are crucial for shaping the metal components.
Dye materials. See, this is what I mean about hidden BEPs. It's like, who knew there were so many considerations just to make a bullet?
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And it highlights how this job blends theory and practice. It's not just about being handy with tools. It's about understanding the science and engineering behind it all.
I see.
And then, of course, there's the quality control aspect.
Right.
Knowing how to spot defects, maintain precision, and adhere to those strict industry standards. It's crucial in this line of work.
Right, because one tiny mistake could have huge consequences.
Exactly.
It's not like you can just hit undo on an assembly line.
No, not at all.
And beyond the technical aspects, there's this whole other layer of knowledge about the different types of ammunition themselves.
Oh, right.
You need to know your cartridges, your projectiles, your propellants. It's like a whole secret language.
It is.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why this RoleCatcher platform is so valuable.
Yeah.
It's like they've condensed years of on-the-job knowledge into these easily digestible guides.
It's like having a seasoned ammunition assembler whispering trade secrets in your ear.
I like it. So we've talked about the skills, the career path, the knowledge required.
Right.
But let's be real. What's the earning potential like for an ammunition assembler?
Yeah, the important question.
Is this a career that can put food on the table and maybe even afford you that fancy bullet-making equipment you've always dreamed of?
Now you're speaking my language.
Right.
Unfortunately, the RoleCatcher guides were a bit tight-lipped on specific salary figures.
Oh, come on. They give us all this incredible insight, and then they leave out the juicy details.
I know, right?
Ugh.
But don't worry, I did a little digging of my own.
Okay.
It seems that salaries can vary quite a bit based on experience, location, the specific employer, all those usual suspects.
Right.
But on average, it looks like an entry-level ammunition assembler in the United States can expect to make somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 per year.
Okay, so maybe not enough to retire on a private island and make custom bullets all day, but not a bad starting point.
Right.
Especially for a job that doesn't require a college degree.
Exactly. And remember, that's just the first rung on the ladder. As you gain experience, pursue additional training, and move to those higher-level positions, those earnings have the potential to climb significantly.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
So there's definitely room for growth, both in terms of responsibilities and earning potential.
Absolutely.
But it's not all about the money, right? What about things like job security and benefits?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
While no job is completely recession-proof,
Sure.
the demand for skilled ammunition assemblers tends to be relatively stable.
That's reassuring, especially in today's economy where things feel a little uncertain.
Definitely. And let's not forget about benefits.
Oh, right.
Many ammunition assemblers are employed by large, well-established companies that offer comprehensive benefits packages.
Okay.
Health insurance, retirement plans, paid time off, the whole shebang.
That's a big deal. Those benefits add a lot of value to the overall compensation package.
Absolutely. So even though it might not have the glitz and glamour of some high-flying tech career,
Yeah.
ammunition assembly offers a lot of practical advantages. Stability, good benefits, and the opportunity to learn a specialized trade,
Right.
for the right person, it could be a very fulfilling and financially secure career path.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's about finding that perfect fit, that sweet spot where your skills and interests align with the demands of the job.
Exactly. It's not always about chasing the biggest paycheck or the flashingest job title.
Right.
Sometimes it's about finding a career that you could be passionate about,
Yeah,
that offers a good work-life balance, and that provides for you and your family.
of course.
And from what we've seen so far, ammunition assembly kicks a lot of those boxes.
It does. But it's also a job that comes with a lot of responsibility.
It is, yeah.
We've talked about the safety aspect, but there's also the ethical dimension to consider.
Right? Yeah.
After all, you're working in an industry that produces products designed to harm, even kill. That's a heavy thought.
It is a heavy thought, and it's something that anyone considering this career path needs to grapple with.
Right.
But it's not a simple black and white issue.
No.
There are a lot of different perspectives, and ultimately, it's up to each individual to decide where they stand.
I think that's a good place to take a pause.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to explore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've only scratched the surface of this fascinating career path.
All right, so we're back and ready to dive even deeper into the world of ammunition assembly. Where do we go from here?
You know, for a job that seems so focused on the physical, putting pieces together with meticulous care, it's amazing how much emphasis is placed on knowledge. It's not just about nimble fingers, it's about sharp minds, too.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of knowledge are we talking about here?
Well, RoleCatcher really breaks it down. First off, a deep understanding of explosives is critical, and I don't just mean knowing your C4 from your dynamite. It's about the nuances of different types, their properties, how they react under various conditions.
Right.
And of course, the safety protocols for handling each one.
Right, because one wrong move with that stuff could turn your career path into a giant crater.
Exactly. And then there's the manufacturing side. It's not enough to know how to assemble. You need to understand the how and why behind the creation of those cartridges and projectiles. The materials, the machinery, the precise processes. It's like a crash course in engineering and chemistry, all rolled into one.
So you're saying it's more than just a job, it's a continuous learning experience.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting. They delve into the specifics of die materials. These materials are essential for shaping the metal components of ammunition and understanding how different materials affect the process, the quality, even the longevity of the final product. It's crucial for an ammunition assembler.
See, this is the kind of stuff I never would have considered. It's like the deeper we go, the more I realize how much I didn't know about making bullets.
It's like that with so many specialized fields. And speaking of specialized, RoleCatcher goes on to highlight the importance of quality control, which makes total sense given the nature of the work.
Right, because it's not like you can just slap a slightly irregular sticker on a faulty bullet and call it a day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They emphasize the need to not only identify defects, but understand why they occur, how to prevent them, and how to maintain that incredibly high level of precision throughout the entire production process. It's not just about building something that works, it's about building something that works flawlessly every single time.
It's a pressure. But I guess that's why they put so much emphasis on those soft skills, critical thinking, problem solving, because even in a highly controlled environment, things can go wrong.
Precisely. And those soft skills are just as crucial for a senior ammunition assembler leading a team as they are for an entry-level assembler figuring out a jammed machine. It's all about thinking on your feet, staying calm under pressure, and making sure that every decision you make prioritizes safety and accuracy.
And speaking of those different career stages, RoleCatcher goes into great detail about what each stage looks like in terms of responsibilities and expectations. They even have these example profiles that give you a glimpse into the daily life of an ammunition assembler at each level. I thought it was a really cool way to make the information more relatable.
I agree. It's one thing to read a dry job description, but it's quite another to hear from someone who's actually lived that experience, who can tell you about the challenges, the rewards, and what it takes to succeed at each step.
It's like they say, experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't hurt to have someone else's experience to learn from as well.
Exactly. And, you know, one thing that really stood out to me was how RoleCatcher connected those example profiles back to the idea of continuous learning. Even the most experienced senior ammunition assemblers they featured emphasized the importance of staying up to date with the latest technologies, techniques, and safety protocols.
So it's a career path that keeps you on your toes, always learning, always growing. I like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but for someone who thrives on challenge, who loves to tinker and problem solve, and who values precision and expertise, it sounds like a perfect fit.
Okay, I'm sold on the career path itself, but now I'm curious, what about the more practical side of things? What kind of education do you need to break into this field?
Well, the good news is you don't need a fancy degree to get started. RoleCatcher's research showed that most employers in this field are looking for candidates with at least a high school diploma or equivalent.
That's good to know, so it's accessible to a wide range of people, but I'm guessing experience plays a big role too, right?
Absolutely. While a formal education might get your foot in the door, it's your on-the-job experience that will really make you stand out.
That makes sense. You learn by doing, especially in a hands-on field like this.
Right. And this is where that RoleCatcher platform comes in handy again. They've got this whole section on building your skills and gaining experience, even if you're starting from scratch. They talk about internships, apprenticeships, and even entry-level positions that can give you that valuable hands-on training.
It's like they've thought of everything. So, say you've got the basic qualifications, you've got some experience under your belt, you're eager to learn and climb that career ladder. What's the earning potential look like for an ammunition assembler? Be honest, are we talking about a comfortable living or just scraping by?
Well, as with any career, salary can vary depending on your experience, location, the specific company, even your negotiation skills. But based on RoleCatcher's data in my own research, it looks like the average salary for an entry-level ammunition assembler in the United States falls somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 per year.
Okay, so maybe not private island money right away, but definitely enough to pay the bills and then some. And I'm guessing that as you gain experience and move up the ranks, that earning potential increases significantly.
You got it. And let's not forget about the benefits. A lot of these companies offer comprehensive benefits packages, including health insurance, retirement plans, paid time off. It's like getting a bonus on top of your salary.
That's a huge perk. Especially in this day and age, good benefits can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. So while it might not be the most glamorous career path, ammunition assembly offers a lot of practical advantages: stability, job security, good benefits, and the potential for growth. If you're looking for a career that's both challenging and rewarding, it's definitely worth considering.
You've painted a pretty compelling picture. It's not just about assembling bullets, it's about mastering a craft, honing your skills, and contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose, that feeling of being part of something important, is something that a lot of people are searching for in their careers.
So we've covered the knowledge, the skills, the career path, the earning potential. Is there anything else RoleCatcher sheds light on in these guides?
You know, it's interesting. They devote a whole section to this plugin. They've developed the RoleCatcher Capture plugin.
A plugin? Sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Well, in a nutshell, it's designed to make your job search infinitely easier.
Okay, sign me up. In
Right.
this job market, we'll take all the help we can get.
Right. So imagine you're browsing online job boards,
Mhm.
which can feel like an endless scroll of disappointment sometimes. And you see a job listing that catches your eye. Instead of having to copy and paste the link or risk losing it in the abyss of your browser history, you just hit the RoleCatcher capture button.
And it magically transports that job listing to a safe place where you can actually find it later.
Essentially, it saves it directly to your RoleCatcher account.
Okay, that's pretty handy. But what happens to all those saved jobs? I'm picturing a digital junk drawer full of forgotten possibilities.
That's where the brilliance of RoleCatcher comes in.
Yeah.
They have this other feature called Board View, which takes all those saved jobs and organizes them visually on a Kanban-style board.
Wait, like a virtual whiteboard where I can move my job prospects around like sticky notes?
You got it. You can organize your job search by stages applied, interviewing, ghosted, offered, whatever categories make sense to you. And then as you progress through the hiring process with each company, you just drag and drop those job listings into the appropriate column.
It's like a project management tool for my career. No more scattered spreadsheets or frantic searches through my inbox, trying to remember if I actually applied for that dream job. This is genius.
I know, right? But it gets even better. RoleCatcher takes it a step further with their skills analysis feature.
Okay, now you're just showing off. What does this one do?
It actually analyzes job descriptions and identifies the specific skills required for each role. And then it scores your CV or resume against those skills.
So it's like having a personal career coach who's not afraid to tell you where you need improvement.
Precisely. It highlights your strengths and weaknesses, showing you exactly where you're a strong match for a particular job and where you might need to brush up your skills or experience.
That's incredibly useful. Talk about taking all the guesswork out of the job search process. No more wondering if you're qualified or if your resume is even making it past those applicant tracking systems.
And if you really want to up your game, they have this thing called the RoleCatcher Copilot AI subscription.
Okay, I've heard whispers of this AI spill the beans. What does Copilot AI actually do?
Imagine this. You're applying for a job, and you've got your generic resume and cover letter ready to go. But with Copilot AI, you feed it the specific job description, and it analyzes the language, the keywords, the required skills, and then it suggests changes to your resume and cover letter, tailoring them to that specific opportunity.
Hold on, it's like having a professional resume writer on speed dial. It actually helps you optimize your application materials to make sure you stand out from the crowd.
Exactly. And it
Oh.
doesn't just stop there. Copilot AI can even help you craft those tricky application answers, making sure you're highlighting the right skills and experience to catch the hiring manager's eye.
This is getting ridiculous, in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret weapon in the war for talent.
Right. But the most mind-blowing feature, and I've said that a lot about RoleCatcher, but it's true, is that employers can use it to find candidates.
Wait, hold up. So it's a two-way street. It's like a dating app, but for jobs?
You got it.
Oh.
They have this whole reverse matching system where employers create a skills profile for a job, and RoleCatcher goes out and identifies the top matches from its pool of users.
So you're saying I could be sitting here minding my own business, polishing my resume on RoleCatcher, and suddenly, bam, I get contacted by a recruiter because my skills perfectly match their dream candidate.
It's entirely possible. It's like they flipped the script on the whole job hunting game.
I am shook. This is a game changer. No more sending out resumes into the void and hoping for the best role catcher is like having a personal recruiter working tirelessly behind the scenes to connect you with the perfect opportunity.
It really is a game changer. But as much as I'd love to keep gushing about RoleCatcher all day, we should probably get back to our main focus, the ins and outs of a career as an ammunition assembler.
Right, because as fascinating as this platform is, I'm still eager to learn more about the actual work involved in assembling ammunition. And speaking of work, you mentioned earlier that RoleCatcher breaks down the typical career path for this role.
Yes, they outline 4 main stages: entry-level, junior, experienced, and senior ammunition assembler. And for each stage, they not only describe the typical responsibilities, but also provide a real-life example of someone who's currently working at that level. It's incredibly insightful.
Okay, I'm sold. Walk me through those stages. Let's start at the beginning. What does an entry-level ammunition assembler actually do on a daily basis?
At the entry level, it's all about mastering the fundamentals. You're learning the ropes, quite literally in some cases, and working under close supervision to ensure you're following all the procedures and safety protocols to a T.
So it's like an apprenticeship, but with a lot more emphasis on safety.
Exactly. They really hammer home the importance of precision, attention to detail, and following those established guidelines. There's no room for error when you're dealing with explosives and firearms.
Right, because even a small mistake could have major consequences.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And in addition to the actual assembly work, entry-level ammunition assemblers are also responsible for inspecting finished products to ensure quality and accuracy.
Quality control starts from day one.
Absolutely. They need to be able to spot defects, understand the standards, and make sure every single component that leaves their workstation meets those rigorous requirements.
Makes sense. It's a lot of responsibility for someone just starting out, but it shows how seriously they take safety and quality in this field.
Exactly. And as you might imagine, operating and maintaining the machinery and equipment used in the assembly process is another key responsibility at the entry level.
So it's a good mix of hands-on assembly work, technical skills, and that unwavering commitment to safety.
You got it. They even highlight these qualities in one of the example profiles they share. This particular individual talks about how much they value the opportunity to learn new skills, their passion for working with their hands, and their deep respect for the inherent risks involved in the job.
It's inspiring to see that level of dedication, especially in someone just starting their career. It sounds like they really found their calling.
I agree. And that's something that comes across strongly in all of the example profiles: a genuine passion for the work, a commitment to excellence, and a deep understanding of the responsibility that comes with building products that could potentially save lives or, conversely, cause great harm.
It's a heavy thought, but it's important to acknowledge that duality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes this career path so compelling. It's not just a job, it's a calling.
So we've got our entry-level ammunition assembler, eager to learn, meticulous, safety-conscious. What's next on their career journey?
Once they've mastered the fundamentals, it's time to step up to the junior ammunition assembler role. This is where they start to spread their wings a bit, taking on more responsibility and working with greater autonomy.
So less hand-holding, more trust in their abilities.
Exactly. They're still assisting senior assemblers, of course, but they're also being entrusted with more complex tasks, operating machinery and equipment with greater proficiency, and starting to get involved in the problem-solving side of things.
So it's not just about following instructions anymore. It's about thinking critically and applying their knowledge to real-world situations.
Precisely. And this is also where teamwork starts to become really important. Junior ammunition assemblers are often working more collaboratively, coordinating with other team members to meet production goals and ensure a smooth and efficient workflow.
Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say. So what kind of skills or qualities are employers looking for in a junior ammunition assembler?
Well, in addition to those core skills we talked about earlier, attention to detail, precision, a strong work ethic, they're also looking for individuals who are able to work independently, who can take initiative, and who aren't afraid to ask questions and learn from their more experienced colleagues.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about how you learn and how you work with others. Those soft skills are just as important as the technical ones.
Absolutely. And it really emphasized that in the example profile for a junior ammunition assembler. This particular individual talks about how much they enjoy the collaborative aspect of the work, how they're constantly learning from their colleagues, and how they're always looking for ways to improve their skills and efficiency.
It's great to see that kind of enthusiasm and dedication. It sounds like they've really found their niche.
They have. And that's one of the things I appreciate about RoleCatcher's approach. They don't just present a dry list of facts and figures. They humanize the career path by showcasing real people who are thriving in these roles.
It makes the information so much more relatable and inspiring. So we've got our junior ammunition assembler honing their skills, collaborating with their team, taking on more responsibility. What's next for them on their climb up the career ladder?
Well, this is where things start to get really interesting. The transition from junior to experienced ammunition assembler is a significant one.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What changes at this level?
This is where you really start to step into a leadership role.
Leadership. So we're talking about managing people now.
Exactly. At this level, you're typically leading a team of assemblers, providing guidance and support, ensuring that everyone is working efficiently and safely, and basically taking ownership of a larger piece of the puzzle.
Wow, that's a big step up. It's one thing to be responsible for your own work, but it's a whole other ballgame to be responsible for the work of others.
Absolutely. It requires a whole different skill set. You need to be able to communicate effectively, delegate tasks, motivate your team, and handle any conflicts or challenges that arise.
And of course, you need to have a deep understanding of the entire assembly process so you can train and mentor others effectively.
Precisely. Experienced ammunition assemblers are also often involved in implementing process improvements, finding ways to make the assembly line more efficient, reducing waste, and constantly striving for that higher level of quality and safety.
So they're not just managing people, they're managing processes too. Talk about a multifaceted role.
Exactly. It's a challenging but incredibly rewarding position for someone who thrives in a fast-paced environment, who enjoys leading and mentoring others, and who has a passion for continuous improvement.
And what about the example profile for this stage? What kind of insights does RoleCatcher provide?
The individual they profile for this level really emphasizes the leadership aspect of the role. They talk about the satisfaction they get from training and mentoring newer assemblers, the importance of fostering a positive and collaborative team environment, and the pride they take in knowing that they're contributing to something bigger than themselves.
It's clear that they've found their groove. It sounds like they've really embraced the challenges and rewards of leadership.
They have. And I think that's something that's really inspiring about all of these profiles, seeing how people from all walks of life can find fulfillment and success in a career that's often misunderstood or overlooked.
It's a good reminder that we should never judge a book by its cover, or in this case, a career by its stereotypes.
Absolutely. And speaking of challenging stereotypes, let's talk about the final stage of the ammunition assembler career path, the senior ammunition assembler. This is where years of experience, expertise, and leadership skills culminate in a role that's both demanding and incredibly rewarding.
Okay, I'm ready to hear about the big leagues. What does it take to reach the summit of the ammunition assembly world?
This is where you become the conductor of the orchestra, so to speak. Senior ammunition assemblers are essentially the overseers of the entire assembly process. They're responsible for ensuring that quality standards are met, that production targets are hit, and that the entire operation runs smoothly, efficiently, and most importantly, safely.
That's a lot of responsibility resting on their shoulders.
It is, but it's also a testament to their years of hard work, dedication, and expertise. They've earned their stripes, so to speak.
So, what does a typical day look like for a senior ammunition assembler? Are they constantly on the move, putting out fires and solving problems?
You can say that. But it's not just about firefighting. It's about anticipating challenges, implementing solutions, and constantly striving for that higher level of efficiency and excellence. They're involved in big picture decisions, like recommending new technologies, collaborating with other departments, and developing training programs for newer assemblers.
So, they're not just working in the system, they're actively shaping it.
Exactly. And that level of influence and impact is something that's incredibly appealing to a lot of people.
It's like they've gone from apprentice to master craftsman, passing on their knowledge and experience to the next generation. It's quite a journey.
It is. And it all starts with that initial spark of interest, that willingness to explore a career path that's a little bit different, a little bit off the beaten path.
And speaking of exploring different paths, I'm curious to learn more about those alternative career options that RoleCatcher hinted at. Those paths that branch out from the traditional ammunition assembler role.
Right. It's not a dead end by any means. They mention opportunities to specialize in specific types of ammunition or components, to move into quality control or inspection roles, or even to transition into related fields like explosives handling or pyrotechnics.
Okay, now that's interesting. So you're not just limited to working in a factory setting. There's potential for growth and exploration in all sorts of directions.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I appreciate about RoleCatcher's approach. They don't just present a narrow view of a career path. They open your eyes to all the possibilities that exist within and around that field.
It's like they're saying, hey, here's your starting point, but don't be afraid to forge your own path, to explore your options, and to see where this journey takes you.
Exactly. And with the right skills, dedication, and a little bit of curiosity, who knows where you might end up.
I love that. So we've covered a lot of ground, from the technical aspects of assembling ammunition to the more nuanced skills and knowledge required, the career progression, the potential for growth and specialization. But there's one big question we haven't quite tackled yet. What's the day-to-day reality of this job like? I mean, we've talked about the tasks and responsibilities, but what's it actually like to show up to work every day as an ammunition assembler?
That's a great question. And it's one that RoleCatcher addresses in their section on the work environment.
Okay, spill the tea. Give us the inside scoop on what it's really like to work in this field.
Well, first things first, it's important to remember that ammunition manufacturing facilities are typically highly secure and controlled environments.
That makes sense given the nature of the work.
Exactly. So be prepared for things like security checkpoints, background checks, and strict adherence to safety protocols.
Safety first. But that's to be expected when you're dealing with potentially dangerous materials.
Absolutely. And speaking of safety, personal protective equipment is non-negotiable. We're talking safety glasses, earplugs, gloves, potentially even respirators. It all depends on the specific tasks and the materials involved.
So it's not exactly a glamorous job, but it's one where safety is paramount.
Exactly. And that emphasis on safety extends to the work environment itself. Think clean, well-lit, and well-ventilated workspaces where everything has its place.
Organization is key. I imagine a chaotic work environment would be a recipe for disaster in this field.
You got it. And because precision and attention to detail are so crucial, the work itself can be quite repetitive. You're often performing the same tasks over and over again, so you need to be someone who finds satisfaction in consistency and accuracy.
So it's not a job for those who thrive on constant change and variety, but more for those who find a certain rhythm and satisfaction in mastering a specific set of skills.
Exactly. And while there's definitely a social aspect to the work, especially as you move into those leadership roles, a lot of the day-to-day tasks are performed independently.
So you need to be comfortable working both independently and as part of a team.
Absolutely. And finally, it's important to be aware that the work can be physically demanding at times.
Physically demanding in what way?
Well, you're often on your feet for long periods. You might be lifting and moving heavy objects, and the work itself can be quite intricate, requiring a high level of hand-eye coordination and dexterity.
So it's not just a mental workout, it's a physical one too.
Exactly. But for the right person, someone who enjoys working with their hands, who's comfortable in a fast-paced environment, and who takes pride in their work, it can be an incredibly rewarding and fulfilling career path.
Well said. And speaking of rewarding, I know we touched on the financial aspect earlier, but I'm curious to know more about the potential for growth and advancement in this field.
That's a great question, and it's one that RoleCatcher addresses in detail.
Okay, tell me more. What does the future hold for an ambitious ammunition assembler? All right, we're back for the final round of our ammunition assembler deep dive. It feels like we've covered a year's worth of career planning in the last hour.
We have explored a lot, haven't we? But before we wrap up, I'd like to circle back to the potential for growth in this field. RoleCatcher highlights that there are multiple paths for advancement.
Okay, so it's not just about climbing a single ladder. There are different branches you can explore.
Exactly. You could
Okay.
specialize in a particular type of ammunition, become the go-to expert for, say, high-caliber rounds, or maybe even those tiny, intricate primers.
It's like any specialized field. You start with the fundamentals, then find your niche, become the guru of that one specific thing.
Precisely. Or, if you're more drawn to the quality control side of things, you could move into an inspection role, using your eagle eye and deep knowledge of the process to ensure that every single component meets those exacting standards.
So from assembling the product to being the guardian of its quality, that's a pretty cool career progression. Are there any other paths they highlight?
They even mention opportunities to transition into related fields, using your knowledge of explosives and manufacturing processes to explore careers in things like pyrotechnics.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me I could go from assembling ammunition to designing fireworks displays? That's a plot twist I didn't see coming.
Right. Talk about a career with a bang. But seriously, it highlights how the skills and knowledge you gain in this field can open doors to a surprisingly wide range of opportunities.
It's like they always say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And who knows, maybe that journey takes you from the factory floor to the pyrotechnics display at the Olympics.
Now that's setting your sights high. But I love it. It just goes to show that with the right attitude, a willingness to learn, and maybe a little help from a platform like RoleCatcher, you can achieve some pretty amazing things.
I'm definitely feeling inspired. This deep dive has been eye-opening, to say the least. We've gone from 0 to 60 on a career path I knew next to nothing about, and now I'm seriously considering adding ammunition assembler to my vision board.
I'm telling you, it's more than just a job.
Yeah.
It's a craft, a skill, a way of life. But jokes aside, I think what's resonated with me most is the dedication and commitment to excellence that shines through in everything we've learned.
Absolutely. From the entry-level assembler meticulously following every safety protocol to the senior leader shaping the future of the entire operation, it's clear that these are individuals who take pride in their work, who understand the weight of their responsibility, and who strive for perfection in every single component they produce.
Well said. And that's a powerful thing. To find a career path that challenges you, that pushes you to be your best, and that allows you to contribute to something bigger than yourself, that's something truly special.
It is. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our ammunition assembler deep dive. So to all our listeners out there, if you're looking for a career that's challenging, rewarding, and a little bit off the beaten path, ammunition assembly just might be the perfect fit. And if you're ready to take that next step, be sure to check out RoleCatcher. They've got all the tools and resources you need to explore this fascinating field and many others.
Until next time, happy exploring.
And as always, thanks for joining us on the deep dive.